Another thing that I want to explain is there is something called as arguments or ARG. With that, we can have some arguments like build, configuration is equal to release or debug if you are working with .NET application. So when we are building that, we want this build configuration. And then later on, for some reason, let's say you want to access it in the work directory here, you can directly access that by using the $sign build configuration. So arguments will basically work like a variable where you can store something and use that when you are building your image rather than typing that in multiple places. Now if you have an arg here that you are not using in the Docker file, when you build it, it will display a warning that one or more build arguments were not consumed. Now right now we are creating an image, but the arg here we have set the default value to be release, but when we build that in the PowerShell here, like if I build that image here, I can basically pass arg as an argument and override that particular variable. That is the main power of ARG, that you can override them when you are building. You can pass them as parameters and you can work with them in the Docker file. Now before I end the video, similar to ARG, we have something called as ENV or environment variable. Both of them are pretty same when you have to use them in a Docker file, but main difference is that arguments are used for build time customization. On the other hand, environment variables are used for runtime customization. That is the key difference between both of them. Now there is a little difference in the syntax for setting argument versus environment variable. You can see here argument, you can supply that by using --build -arg followed by the argument name and value. Environment variables are executed on the Docker run command by -e, the environment name followed by the value. If you have multiple environment names, you can use multiple -e in the Docker run command, whereas the argument will always be inside the Docker build command. Now I will not go into practical examples of them right now, but when we work on the Docker image for .NET application, we will see them in action.